Good morning, Delaware. It is a chilly morning here in Delaware, but it is going to be a great weekend. I just have that feeling. I just think everything's going to be just copacetic because I think Cincinnati's going to win. I think Buffalo's going to win. I think it's going to be a great weekend.
Go Sports Ball!
Molly Myers-Labady, the Deputy Director of the Delaware County District Library and no fan of sports.
Copacetic?
I enjoy going to, though. I just don't follow, though.
That other voice you heard is Karen Cowan, the president of the Friends of the Delaware County District Library and our sponsor. And if you've ever watched TV shows about TV shows, you know how much we all love our sponsors.
Yes.
So it's great to see you, Karen. Great to have you on the show
Good to
today.
be here.
And Molly is sitting in for Nicole, who is will be back next week, all things considered, we hope.
I'm becoming a regular here.
You're really, you're racking up the points. You're going to have to join
Third
after.
host?
Yep. So, but that might be a good idea because we do have some changes coming at the library, which we'll talk about in the second half of the show. So anyway, so Molly, what are you reading, listening to, binging on, whatever?
Oh, today I'm going to tell you about somewhere I've been.
Oh, okay, that's even better.
I decided a little trip.
Your travels are, it's like Gulliver's Travels or Sullivan's Travels.
Well, it's my belief in we don't know our own neighborhoods. We don't know our own state. Like I go to other states and we all do the tourism things, but we don't ever see our own. So today I'm going to talk about Mount Vernon, Ohio, which is such a beautiful treasure in Ohio. I had no idea. I knew they had a good library. So the first thing we did is they have a fountain of dogs downtown. Did you know that?
A fountain of dogs?
A fountain of dogs.
So you drink from it, you become a dog, like the fountain of youth?
It's even better. It's even better, though. That would be the life. It's this fountain, and it's got dogs inside and outside. And you can tell, I went in the winter, but in the summer, water shoots out of their mouths. There's even a cat and a horse and a bird in the middle. But it is this fountain with different breeds of dogs all around it that's right where the Nazarene College is. And all I'd known about Mount Vernon is I had two cousins go there.
Okay.
So that's how this started. So I was pretty happy. Lloyd was like, okay, you found a fountain of dogs. But it got better from there. We went down and found a coffee shop. And then we went to a bookshop where they're like, come on in with your coffee. The whole point of being next door to them is so that you can bring it on in. Wonderful selection. The people there were just the friendliest staff I met. Every store we went in, everybody was so nice. They even had a comic book gaming shop for Lloyd. So, redeeming that I drove him outside in the cold to see a fountain of dogs. Then we found this place that made pierogies. They had probably more like 12 types of pierogies that you could order from, and you could get a mix of them. You could decide what you wanted with it. Unbelievable. And then the thing that really got it at the end, and I got to pull it up so I get the correct name of it. They have a park there that is made from an old glass factory. It's called Ariel Foundation Park. So they demolished the glass factory, but they left pieces of it. You can walk up the spire. It's like the staircase is built all around their old spire, so you can walk up the top of it. You climb up these mountains, and you can just overlook, like the design and the shapes of it just overlooks what it would look like with glass. There's like a glass river, though I have to say, people keep stealing the glass, and they need to cut it out because it would have been a lot prettier if it was full of glass. But they saved everything. So the building for the glass factory was made with iron from the World's Fair. And so they took it from the World's Fair, from the buildings that they had, let me see if I can find the year right here. I should have brought my pictures up because nobody's quoting the year in this one. But the sort of the big World's Fair, the one we always talk about
in Chicago?
Chicago.
That'd been 1893.
1893. They drove that steel back.
Wow.
And put it into this building. So when they tore it down, they left the steel sort of exposed, and they turned it into like bent sculptures and things like that. I mean, this park, you're going to get your steps in and have a lot of fun doing it. They have one of those relaxing parks where you walk through a circle and things. This was one of my favorite, parks. You're sometimes like, okay, trees, I love it. I'm feeling nature. But there are little things explaining the factory, how it was built, pieces of it all over the place. So Mount Vernon is definitely a day trip. Everybody should do. It was worth every second of our day. So take a trip, Delaware. Go see one of your neighbors to the north.
All right, great. Thank you. And hats off to John, the director there. John Chichester is the director of the Mount Vernon Library. And
Cassandra Peters, his deputy, is fantastic. That is an amazing library system.
So So, Karen, have you been traveling, or are you going to tell us about something? No, you were supposed to be traveling, and you're not. I'm sorry to
Let's
say
not
yes.
talk
Well,
about
let's not
that.
talk about that.
It's supposed to be in the warm. Mount Vernon also has, outside of Mount Vernon, also has one of the largest Friends of the Library bookshops I have ever seen, because they have an old meatpacking plant there that the Friends of the Library have just taken over, and it's like rooms of books. So go outside of the city a little bit if you go over there and help the Friends of the Library out too. I haven't been traveling because it's cold out there.
It's cold out
I don't
there.
want to do that. So I got one of these curl up by the fireplace read books, and it's called The Last Time I Lied by Ridley Sager.
Ooh.
And it is a mystery, and I have never heard of this mystery writer before, but he's got several books out, and this one was really good. It takes place, the scene starts, and there's a 13-year-old girl at a camp, the 6-week, stay over summer camp, and she's in her cabin, and she wakes up, and she hears the nature. She's from Manhattan. She doesn't like the nature. She doesn't like a lot of things. And then she looks around, and her 3 cabin mates are gone. Gone. And she starts looking around the camp, and she goes out because they have a big lake there, and she screams at the top of her lungs. Everybody comes. Nobody can find the girls. Nobody can find the girls.
Wow.
So the next scene is 15 years later, and she's an artist, and she's painting these murals that are barn-sized landscapes, and they're dark black pictures and smoke gray and blood red, and they're these landscape scenes. But then she paints the 3 girls that are missing. She has a series of 13 pictures, and these 3 girls are painted in every one of the pictures, but nobody knows it because she puts them in there, then she paints over them. Then she puts, so she's really obsessed by the fact that these girls are missing. And she accused some people at the camp of doing some wrong to these girls, and so she has that going. So she has a lot of angst about this thing. So she's invited back to the camp to teach, because the camp had closed, and they wanted to reopen 15 years. They thought this was a good thing to do. And so she goes back, as do several other people who had been camp mates, came back to teach. So they know her story. They know what happened at the camp. And they don't have room for the adults to have in one cabin. So they put the adults with the campers, again, teenage girls. So she's staying with 3 teenage girls.
Nothing bad can come from
No,
that.
this isn't the start of a
missing.
horror
Of course,
movie.
yes.
They go missing.
Oh, wow.
Her idea was to go back and find find out what happened. In her search to find out what happened, these girls go missing. She's accused of really doing bad things to these girls. I'm not going to tell you what happens. All I'll tell you is I didn't see it coming. It is a really good book. So if you want something to keep you through the weekend when it's going to be below 0, just curl up with a really good mystery, The Last Time I Lied by Ridley Sager.
I've got 3 days off. This sounds like a plan. Cup of hot cocoa and a good mystery.
Oh, yeah. Or a glass of wine.
Ooh,
Yeah.
even better. I won't be at work. You're right.
There you go.
That was an excellent book talk. An excellent book talk.
Yes.
So my book this week is a Christmas gift I got from a friend of mine. It's called All About Me, My Remarkable Life in Show Business by Mel Brooks.
Oh, that's so
It's his
you.
autobiography. It came out at the end of November. It is so good. If you don't know Mel Brooks, he's an EGOT, which means he's won an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony. For TV, he wrote for Sid Caesar for Your Show of Shows and Caesar's Hour. He created Get Smart with Buck Henry.
I love that.
And then he won 3 Emmys for playing Uncle Phil on Mad About You in the 90s for Best Supporting Comedic Actor. Movies, that's how I got to know Mel Brooks the second time around. The Producers, Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, High Anxiety, Silent Movie, Robin Hood Men in Tights, Spaceballs, and History of the World Part 1.
All my favorites.
Movies that will leave you in stitches, all of them. The first time I heard Mel Brooks was with Carl Reiner in The 2,000-Year-Old Man. Heard that when I was in high school before The Producers, I think before I saw The Producers, where it was totally improvised. Carl Reiner would interview Mel Brooks, who was this 2,000-year-old man. He knew he'd been around for 2,000 years. He'd been married hundreds of times. He had thousands of children, none of whom ever call, none of them ever write.
I understand.
He was the waiter at the Last Supper. So, I mean, it's hysterical. And then, of course, on Broadway, he produced The Producers as the Broadway musical, winning 12 Tonys, which is still an all-time record, even more than Hamilton, and Young Frankenstein. The Producers ran for over 2,500 performances. The Young Frankenstein ran for almost 500. Then, if that wasn't enough, he was also producer of some of the best movies of the 80s. Elephant Man, Francis, The Fly, My Favorite Year, 84 Charing Cross Road, under his Brooks Films Company. So just an incredibly talented man. This book is just fun. He does not use this book to get even with anybody. Everybody is my dear friend, he must call people my good friend or my dear friend 250 times in this 400-page book. And it's all over the place. It's everybody from politicians to other actors, producers, artists, all sorts of different people. So, like I said, there's no bad guys in this book. The backstage stories are almost all upbeat and positive. When they were working on The Producers, he was working with a director to do the show. His wife and this director's wife was Susan Stroman. Her husband died while they were planning The Producers, so it stopped the show while they were working on it. Then they realized Susan Stroman had been involved with every step of the thing, so why doesn't she just take over? And that would help her in the grieving process, which it did.
Wow, yeah.
And she won the Tony for Best Director of a Musical for that, and first time out of the box. So just stories like that are what really make this go. But there's two people for whom the big love, three people actually, is reserved. Sid Caesar. Yeah. Sid Caesar gave him his first start. He was writing jokes from when he first got out of the Army, and Sid was doing a nightclub show, and then we got offered his first TV show, The Admiral Review. He brought him on, and then he stayed with him for the 10 years that Sid Caesar was on television. Carl Reiner, the second person he has deep love for, who was his cohort with 2,000-Year-Old Man and was his best friend until Carl passed away. And, of course, Anne Bancroft. The schlepper from Brooklyn, Mel Brooks, married one of the most beautiful, talented, wonderful actresses and had this 40-year love story. It should be a movie in and of itself. So anyway, this is a really good book. He's really proud of his kids, especially his son with Anne Bancroft, Max Brooks, who wrote World War Z.
He's one of my favorite. He also did the Bigfoot book I talked about a few months ago.
And the Zombie Survival Handbook.
And I've read all of them. He's one of my favorite horror writers. To be raised by a comedian and be able to write horror like that is amazing.
Yep. So anyway, like I said, it's a fun book. There's no scandals. There's no dirt. It's just a lot of Borscht Belt humor and a lot of heavy-duty name dropping. So it's called All About Me, My Remarkable Life in Show Business, and it's by Mel Brooks. So highly recommended. If you like any kind of show business books, you'll really like this. So we're going to take a break here. When we come back, Karen Cowan's going to talk about some of the great things that the Friends have got going, a major donation, some wonderful things that we've got planned in terms of author visits. So please stay tuned. Thank you very much, Gage Tellis. Always glad to have you back there behind the board.
Of course.
So we are delighted to have Karen Cowan, the president of the Friends of the Delaware County District Library, with us this morning. How you doing, Karen?
I am cold. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, that's true. You can hardly blame you. It's funny. I'm seeing you wearing your Miami University sweatshirt because I know your granddaughter goes there.
Yes.
And, of course, Molly is a graduate of Miami. And our Telling a People's Story exhibition was curated by Miami University. So we just had such a great combination here. I actually took a 5-day course at Miami back when I was just a baby librarian. So anyway.
It was planned.
It was planned.
And I did that all because I knew all this.
Yes.
Just wanted you to know that.
Okay, great. It's good to know. So let's talk about what the Friends are doing because you guys are all over the board. You got some great stuff coming up.
We have had 2022 is beginning as really a great year for the Friends. I mean, a super, super year for the Friends. First of all, we got a just huge, generous donation from Mrs. Catherine Morrison, who is the mother of one of the children's librarians in Delaware Library.
Mr. George. Everybody knows Mr. George.
And Mr. George was on the show last week, and
right.
his musical talent is absolutely phenomenal. He can sing, he can play all kinds of instruments, and this donation is in memory of Mr. George's father,
Also George Morrison.
Senior
yes.
George? I'm not sure how to put that.
They've got different middle initials.
Okay.
He's got a different middle initial, and George's son, George, also has a different middle initial.
Okay.
That's how so none of them are actually juniors.
No, well, George, and George, the first George. It's in memory of George's father, and it's for music appreciation programming at the library. And this is just phenomenal because we know that the library is a cultural center of Delaware, and this is just going to add to that. I know that George Needham and George Morrison are talking about what that program is going to be. So please stay tuned because that's going to be really cool.
Right. It could be. It's pretty open in what we can do with this. So it might involve collection things for the that people can check out, but it also might include performances. I know we have such wonderful musical talent here in the county that it'll be great to be able to actually showcase some of that local talent at the library, both at the Delaware Library and at Orange, maybe at the lawns at Powell and Ostrander, and even when the new library opens. So we are really excited about this gift. So thank you very much to the Morrison family.
Yes.
We will be thanking you in a much more public way soon.
Yes. That was just, out of the blue. We got that phone call. That was super. The second thing that's happened that is just super is out of the blue, I got a letter from Jody Everett from Beanbag Books, and as people in Delaware probably know, she's remodeling her store. So she has books that she can't sell. They're probably out of print or whatever. And she has donated those to the Friends of the Library. And that is just really cool. George and the library has first dibs on them. They're going to take a lot of them out, put them in the collection at Liberty, and supplement their children's, because they're mostly children's and young adult books. And then we haven't quite decided how we're going to handle what we have left, but it's just going to be, that was just so cool.
Yeah, it's a great, wonderful gift to us. We really can't thank them enough for that. I know that Kyle in Tech Services has been collecting them, and just box after box after box of these materials coming.
In so many ways we can use them.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Summer Reading Club, we can use them to supplement the collection. We can use them for the new branch. It's going to be a great donation.
Yeah.
And so big thanks to our friends at Beanbag. They've also been wonderful about doing things like handling the book sales at our various author programs, which we also need to talk about here.
We also need to talk about real quickly. First of all, we need to talk about our book sale that's coming up this next Saturday, not tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow.
So if you're listening on Sunday's rebroadcast, you still have an opportunity to come. It's the 29th.
29th of January. It's going to be at Orange. It's going to be in the lobby, so we're not going to make you be in the cold garage. You can come in and get warm. And Orange has lots of books. We have lots of donations. We've culled some books from the collection, so we have a lot of books. We'll have a lot of different genres. So come out to our book sale January 29th, 9 to 3. And our author visit is Sarah Nisha Adams, and she's going to be on February 22nd. And she is coming to us from London, and she's going to be virtual. And we're doing a tea at 2. Tea at 2, and we're partnering with Fresh Start Bakery for that. So tickets are online on Eventbrite. So go to your Eventbrite site, and you can pull it up. And that's going to be pretty cool. The book that she wrote is The Reading List, and so it's a new book with a whole lot of old books in it.
Right, and I've got a copy of it thanks to you, Karen. Yes. She loaned me her Kindle so I could read this because there's a waiting list at the library.
Yes.
So even I can't jump the list or the line. So. And I will say Sarah Nisha Adams is going to be our guest on the show on February 4th. So I've got to talk to Gage about how we're going to bring her in. But that should be really exciting to have her as a guest on the show and then to do a program for the Friends.
Yes. So. And if you plan ahead, which I know everybody does.
Everybody.
Mark on your calendar March 5th, because we're going to have our first kind of really book sale at Delaware with the new shelving and stuff. I know we had kind of one at the end of last year, but now we've got more shelves. The books are better. The books are organized kind of better. It looks
amazing in there.
Doesn't it look like a
Every
bookstore?
time I go in there, I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is, you guys have taken it to the next level.
And my husband is shopping for more shelves.
Of course he is. I would expect nothing less.
Yeah. So that's going to be our bookstore, whether you like it or not. I'm sorry, guys. But
we tried to get you a meatpacking plant, but Mount Vernon wouldn't give it up.
Seriously. You need to go to that place. Oh, my God. It's amazing. Amazing. Plus, Kenyon College gave them a lot of shelving.
Okay.
So you can... But it doesn't smell like meat either, so that's good.
That's good. Books that smell like meat don't appeal at all.
No. So that takes us up into March, and then if you kind of watch the calendar, we have scheduled a Young Writers Workshop. I don't want to say too much about it because of COVID, but we're trying.
We'll jinx it, yeah.
We're trying to make sure that we have it. So all of you young writers and all of you parents with young writers, stay tuned.
And if you're really looking ahead, April 26th and 27th, William Kent Kruger is going to be here,
oh my God,
in
that's
Delaware.
Gonna be cool. That's going to be cool.
So
yes.
Keep following up on that. So I love the Friends. At our board meeting on Tuesday, we had our new officers sworn in. I mentioned last week that Holly Quain from the Delaware Chamber is our new president, and she had wonderful things to say
Yes.
about the Friends.
Yes.
Well
Yes.
deserved. Scott Teedy is our vice president, and Connie Skinner is our secretary. They all got sworn in. So those were some of the major changes that came up. I also, at that meeting, announced that I will be retiring.
No.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yep. So that's not until September 30th, and I wanted to give the board plenty of time because you don't just go out and put it out on Indeed that you need a new library director. So it takes some time to get a search firm to do the kind of recruiting they want to do, interview them, give that person a chance to leave their current job, and all that stuff takes time. So I wanted to let them know that is sort of folded in with when the new library is going to open.
If anyone wants to help me try to trick him to stay, just email me at mlabady@delawarelibrary.org.
I don't understand because he's only 40. I can't retire at 40.
No.
I have socks older than that. But back to what we're really doing at the library this week. We already talked a little bit about what's going on with the Friends. We have book clubs coming up this week. And speaking of William Kent Kruger, the book club Around the World in Books and Bites, which is a registered event that's coming up this Monday, is going to be talking about Ordinary Grace by William Kent Kruger.
Yes.
That's one of his bestsellers. On Tuesday, we've got books clubs going on at 3 libraries. At the Delaware Main Library, they're doing Kitchens of the Great Midwest by J. Ryan Stradle. I hope I pronounced that right. That's at 1 o'clock. The Powell Book Club is at 5:30, and they're doing Dear Edward by Anna Napolitano. And then Ostrander is doing A Week in Winter by Maeve Binchy. Now, if you time it right, you can hit all 3. And I think Linda Silverstein will because
Yes, she does.
she's
Yeah.
a member of
Yeah.
the Friends Board, and she is just
Yeah.
a book club groupie. So she will be at all of them. We do have the Telling a People's Story exhibit is staying at the Delaware Main Library
Don't
through
miss
this
this.
week.
Don't miss it.
Absolutely. It'll be there through January 31st, and then it moves to Orange. So, yes, definitely don't miss it. But whether you see it at Orange or whether you see it at Delaware, it is a really moving exhibit. It's really worth seeing. So make sure you get a chance to take a look at that. We do have our new flyer out, which has all of the author programs that we're going to be doing for the coming year.
So many.
We've got so many. Yeah, and like I said, we're going to have we're going to have Sarah Nisha Adams on the radio show on February 22nd. On February 4th, and she's coming on February 22nd. Greg Christie, who is an illustrator who is part of the Telling the People's Story exhibit.
Oh, I can't wait to see him.
He is going to be on the show here in person on February 11th. He's doing a paint night that night at Orange. And then on Saturday, he will be giving guided tours of the Telling a People's Story exhibit.
so
I am
cool.
so excited
Plus
for this.
a bookbinding workshop for teens, tweens, and adults.
That is
That
It is going to
so
be
cool.
quite a day, February 11th and 12th, and that's all at the Orange Branch Library. That's all free. So make sure you plan around that because I think you're really going to enjoy it. So, Karen, again, I can never thank the Friends enough for everything you guys do for the library, from the radio show to the support that you give us in the community to being part of when we make when we're at the Delaware Chamber of Commerce or the Powell Chamber of Commerce, when we are out in the community, you guys just do a great job representing the library and the library's users, and we really appreciate that.
We love you guys, and the library is a jewel in this city and in this county that we need to treasure.
Well, thank you very much. Molly, it's always great sharing the mic with
I
you.
love being here.
See, that's why I'm not worried about the radio show. I know it's in good hands. When I'm gone, you guys will cover it just fine.
It's also like 15 minutes from my house. I can sleep in.
This is actually a lot more convenient for me, too. I
Yeah.
can actually... I had time this morning to make myself an omelet for breakfast. So
Yeah.
And you didn't bring us any.
No, I didn't. It would have
know.
been. You think of how cold it would have been by the time I got here. So anyway,
We got a microwave.
That's right, Gage.
right,
Let's
now-
keep them
We got a
honest.
break room now.
I'm so guilty. I just won't be able to work at the library anymore.
Okay, no.
All right. Well, anyway, thank you again, Gage, for your work behind the board. We always
Absolutely.
appreciate it, and we will see you in the stacks.